please pay attention, special attention this time. I will try to repeat the important points, and I want you to bear in mind that I'm talking to you. You. Don't say he's talking to somebody else. Recently, I have come to a very important conclusion about believing in God. And this started in the Muslim Perspective issue of February 1987 with the title, Satan Believes in God. It dawned on me that throughout the Quran we are taught that the majority of believers in God are going to hell. In Surah 12, verse 103 says, most people, no matter what you do, will not believe. And then in 106, we're told that the majority of those who believe will go to hell. This is in Surah 12, verse 106. And then we read in Surah Al-Mu'minun, number 23, verses 84 through 90. I'm going to quote, starting at 84. Say, to whom belongs the earth and everyone in it, if you know? They will say, to God. Say, would you then take heed? Or how come you do not take heed? Say, who is the Lord of the heavens, the 7 universes, the Lord with the great dominion? They will say, God. Say, how come you do not observe righteousness or do not observe God? Say, in whose hand is the kingship of everything, over everything? The one that can come to your help and does not need any help, if you know. They will say, God. Say, how come you have been bewitched, have gone astray? So, and in Surah 29, verse 61 says, if you ask them who created the heavens and the earth and committed the sun and the moon, they will say, God. And then the verse ends by asking, how come they deviated? In Surah 29, verse 63, it says, if you ask them who sends water from the sky to revive dead land, they will say, God. Say, praise be to God. How come most of them do not understand? So all these verses and many more throughout Quran tell us that people believe in God, Satan believes in God, but they are still going to hell. Now why? And the very important conclusion is, you do not believe in God unless you know God as He really is, with all His qualities. Namely, especially, that God runs everything, that God is doing everything. And this will shed a new light on our submission to God, our acceptance of whatever is happening, to you personally or in the world, to anybody, to anything, to any country. We do not believe in God unless we believe that God is running everything. And at this point, I would like to suggest a dhikr for you, something for you to do. Every day, wherever you go, when you're driving or sitting or you have nothing to do, or even if you have something to do, I want this to dominate your life, even mentally, even when you're doing something. I want you to repeat always, God is running everything. God is running everything. This is your new dhikr, our new dhikr. Because it will, the whole world will look different to you. When anything is happening that may turn you into an objector, not a submitter, this will remind you that God is doing everything and that you are objecting. As a believer, you have no business losing your temper, for example. You're not a believer if you lose your temper. And as I said at the beginning of the khutbah, I'm talking to you. Don't say he's talking to somebody else. I'm talking to you. Yes, you, Abdullah, Gatut, Muhtasham, Ahmed, other Ahmed, Frank, and so on. I am talking to you, every one of you. You have no business losing your temper, because this indicates you're objecting to something God is doing. We must know that God is doing everything. Even the things that Satan is doing, they are following God's law. a good example in the Quran is before the creation of Adam, God is telling the angels, I'm putting on earth a representative. Which in a nutshell says that God, of course, knew that Adam was going to be duped by Satan and will go down to earth. Because when Satan tricked Adam, God said, go down to earth, all of you. But before the creation of Adam, God is telling the angels, I'm going to place on the planet Earth a representative, the human being. So even though Satan tempted Adam and Eve, God is doing everything, because everything is going in accordance with God's will. This is our new dhikr. When you're driving, when you're sitting, when you're doing anything, eventually it's going to happen mentally. Every cell in your body is going to say, God is running everything. And this is the true believer. This is the believer in God who will not go to hell. The majority of believers in God are going to hell because they do not believe that God is running everything. In Surah 8, verse 17, a classic example. It is not you who killed them. That was after the battle, one of the battles in early Islam. It is not you who killed them, it is God who killed them. It is not you who threw when you threw the arrow or the gun or whatever. It was God who threw